¿Cómo están todos? Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a esta sesión tan especial de Medicina Energética para cáncer y los efectos colaterales de intervenciones médicas, realizada por la especialista senior y médica intuitiva Moni Platt. Es un gusto para mí darle la bienvenida como otra de las especialistas colegas senior acá de Ecuador. Soy Beatriz Benavides, para quienes han visto la convocatoria y saben que he mandado esto, en coordinación y en conjunto con mi colega Blanca Minuche, también especialista en Medicina Energética, y Belén Cisneros, también especialista e intérprete el día de hoy. Tenemos una gran comunidad a nivel local en el Ecuador e internacional en Sudamérica, en América Latina y de habla hispana, que está cada vez más atenta y más dispuesta y lista para aplicar las técnicas de la medicina energética y la mentoría de vida para transformar su vida y para recuperarse y superar todo tipo de enfermedades y desafíos de salud. En este momento voy a empezar esta charla dándoles un resumen. Voy a pasar a hablarlo y a decirlo en inglés, que es la biografía de Moni Platt. So again, welcome everyone. This is a special talk with the energy medicine specialist Moni Platt about cancer, healing energy medicine for cancer, and healing the side effects of medical interventions. I am Beatriz Benavides. I will be your host. And now, first of all, I want to tell you a little bit more about who is Moni Platt. First of all, I want you to know that she's a very dear specialist for me in my life. I have worked with her for many, many years in many difficult cases, and I have seen how wonderful she is, how special and very successful she is in the healing area with all the team of our institute. So I want to tell you a little bit more about her. Moni Platt is a world-renowned energy medicine expert and medical intuitive, personally mentored by Master Del P. Utilizing advanced psychic techniques and third eye spiritual technology, she possesses the unique ability to energetically scan the physical body, organs, and complex health conditions. With nearly 2 decades of healing expertise, Moni is a certified senior specialist in life-threatening diseases, illnesses, lifestyle diseases, and emerging conditions like psychosomatic syndromes and the dark night of the soul. She has become a premier expert in managing cancer, its comorbidities, and the debilitating side effects of treatments like chemotherapy and radiation. Her practice goes beyond the physical protocols, as her deep compassion addresses the profound emotional and mental traumas that accompany cancer diagnosis. As the head of the World Institute for Incurable Diseases, Moni works alongside founder Master Del P and an elite international team to reinvent healthcare for a new humanity. Together, we provide over 58 cutting-edge healing specializations, including treatments for depression, anxiety, burnout, sleep issues, addictions, ADHD, learning disorders, and cardiovascular diseases. Moni's greatest achievement is delivering extraordinary and documented results for individuals suffering from incurable conditions by restoring harmony across the 5 levels of health and balancing the 5 key areas of life. Having lived across 4 continents, Moni serves a diverse global clientele ranging from the underserved communities to billionaires, making her one of the most sought-after holistic healers worldwide. Welcome, Moni, to this space. This is your home, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Beatriz, for this wonderful introduction and for this very, very important opportunity to allow me and all of us from the World Institute for Incurable Diseases to share our expertise and our capacity to help people that are suffering from cancer or those that have to care family members or friends to have to care for them that suffer from cancer. So I'm Moni Platt, and it's a great pleasure to be here with all of you. Buenos dias, buenas noches. And I am looking forward to also share some of our tools and techniques with you today, so that at the end, when you go home today, you will have an empowerment to have self-help techniques and understand that we can improve our health, our conditions, no matter how hopeless a situation might seem like. There is always something that we can do to again create hope and improve our health, improve our lives, and extend our lifespan, and not only our lifespan, but also our health span. So when we talk about energy medicine, we are talking not about our allopathic medicine or our usual approaches to helping people to manage cancer or heal cancer or cure cancer. In energy medicine, we have a bigger spectrum and some different views that we look at in order to produce sometimes really miraculous healing results. Now, there are many, many various contributing factors, whether that is possible or to what degree we can help people to totally heal the cancer or partially heal the cancer. However, the most important thing is to understand that no matter what the lesson of life would be in any incurable disease, that we are able to restore inner balance, vitality, a clarity of mind, a spiritual alignment, and a sense of purposefulness, of usefulness and functionality, even though that we might be faced with a testing situation like cancer. Now, when I talk about the contributing factors or the triggers of cancer, we need to take into consideration as to how the cancer manifested. There's not only a physical or symptomatic component of cancer. Cancer, or as such any disease, does not just appear suddenly today. Any disease is an accumulative component or an accumulative situation where either through wrong lifestyle choices, through high stress levels, through genetic and ancestral inheritance, through DNA damages, and also through spiritual lessons that we accumulate every day of our lives, that a disease eventually will manifest. Now, generally, some of you would already have learned and known that in our daily life, it is important to eat healthy, to exercise, to have management strategies to reduce stress, and also to engage in preventive measures, especially if one has already awareness that one can be predisposed for certain diseases because of the family lineage. I have had cases that are more difficult to heal, for example, because one sees that even the parents, the fathers and mothers lineage or ancestral lines will have a lot of cancer already in the family. One finds that the parents, the grandparents, even the uncles, the cousins, that there is an accumulation of certain diseases in certain lineages. So they are prone to have a genetic imprint and an energetic imprint to manifest these diseases. And this is where we go beyond science, where we need to understand where the true triggers of a disease comes from. What is the origin? What is the instigation? And what are the sustaining programs that will manifest a disease? And what are the factors in our everyday life that would allow us to prevent or if the disease has already manifested, allow us to reverse the symptoms. And very often there is comorbidities in cancer. So in my experience, I found that people have metabolic disorders. Cancer really is a metabolic disease if we look at the picture, and also in the scientific research and in the medicine, it is generally now accepted, and there are new perspectives that are open up in the medical field to look at cancer also as a metabolic disease, not only a symptomatic breakdown of healthy body cells and a proliferation of negative cells that we generally know would create cancers and tumors. And so in our system, in the World Institute for Incurable Diseases, we establish first a health quotient. The health quotient is a number that we look at to understand on what level of health are we the most compromised and where's our health really good. So there are 5 levels of health. We need to look first on our physical body. How well is our physical body functional? Are all our organs healthy? Are all our body liquids healthy? Do we have a high toxicity? Do we have blockages, congestions, imbalances with respect of, for example, insulin resistance? Insulin resistance is one of the highest contributing factors in manifesting diseases. Are we exercising? Are we maintaining a good body mass and body fat index with respect of our body height, body weight, and also our age? Are we maintaining a good daily practice that is health supporting? Or are we living a life that is more sedentary, eating foods that are not supportive for health, and hence contributing every day of our lives to a rather disease quotient than health quotient? So physically, we need to look into those aspects and understand where are we at in our physical body. Then the other factor is vitality. If we have high vitality, we can continue going, we can put strength, will, and power into managing diseases or difficult life circumstances. If vitality is low, very often in cancer, we find, especially in the advanced stages, that there is a lot of fatigue and also sleep deprivation at times if there's a lot of pain due to the cancer side effects. And people get very, very tired. And when the energy is low, when vitality is low, one does not have enough zest or will or power or the dynamism and enthusiasm to fight it out. So part of the cancer aspect or any disease aspect is for us to have that capacity to fight and to overcome it, and to build that resilience to fight until the end, until it is done, and not give up in between. Then the third level of health is our emotional health. Now, I find that in cancer, there is usually a lot of congestion. So when I talk about congestion, physically, we would see that the different body systems are blocked or congested, clogged, like the lymphatic system, the lymph nodes is not functioning or flowing well. There's a slow metabolic rate. And if we look at the energetic aspect of the liquids in the body and the organs themselves, there is a gray energy or a darker energy in and around the aura, in and around the energy field, which indicates that there's a lot of congestion. And then emotionally, there is a very high contributing factor, especially with cancer. In this day and age, we very often would hear about mental diseases. We do hear about depression, anxiety, burnout, sleep issues, because we live such a high, fast-paced life nowadays. We never switch off. We have to take care of many things. We have a family to take care of. We have our work and career life and a social life. And then we have our artificial intelligence life, because most of us in this day and age would have an extra time factor, or a time waster, I would even call, that we spend a lot of time on our gadgets. And that actually contributes to the internal stresses of our lives. We get affected by news that we see. We get affected by the continuous flow of the posts of Facebook and Instagram, having comparison or maybe complaining or competitive thinking in our subconscious or consciously from what we see, comparing ourselves and thinking that, you know, what is reflected to us by these posts, we also need to have it. We need to have this good looking life, all this artificially created circumstances that one gets shown. But of course, life is not as such. Life is not perfect. Nature is not perfect. None of us are perfect. So we need to still understand that we are in a life that is continuously evolving, that is continuously changing, where we continuously need to learn to adapt to circumstances that we can plan and circumstances that are unexpected. So the stress factor of everyday life, plus our predominant emotions that we might have, some can be suffering from guilt, some can be having a lot of anger, other people can have a lot of guilt. There can be envy, jealousy, depending what everyone's circumstances are in life. But the emotional reactivity in life causes a lot of red energy in the energy system, emotional red energy. And that energy feeds into creating a lot of inflammation. So inflammation in the body is not only produced because of wrong foods, high acidity due to maybe, you know, certain vices, drinking alcohol, eating processed foods and not exercising enough, or bad sleep. Sleep issues cause high acidity. So in a high acidic environment, there is a lot of red energy in the body cells, in the mitochondria, a low-lying inflammation, often that we don't even realize is there, but that continuous, I would say, abrasive energy creates the platform for negativities and negative cell division to eventually manifest, or for organs to decay and malfunction. And so emotionally, that happens as well. When we have predominant negative emotions over a long period of time, and we do not process them, and we do not release out that negative energy, it eventually triggers through and manifests also in the physical body. So that is a contributing factor of another high acidity, high heat energy, acidic energy that would contribute for disease to form. And in collaboration with our emotions is our mind, our thoughts. So now we need to look at what are our predominant thoughts. Are we having predominantly positive thoughts that are life-affirming, health-affirming, a can-do attitude that even if I have a lot of challenges in life, I am solution-oriented and I think, okay, this is not nice, I don't necessarily like it. However, I will find a solution. I keep on going and I stay enthusiastic and I still allow my predominant thoughts to be positive rather than negative. Our belief systems that we create in our lives by our culture, by our tradition, what parents tell us, what education tells us, and the conclusions we make thereof will create ideas, idealistic thinking sometimes, idealisms, to understand within us whether this is a good or a bad situation, a good or a bad thing, our likes and our dislikes. All these kinds will make us or allow us to make decisions that are good for us or bad for us. And so if you find yourself in situations where you have conflict, or you find that you get irritated or impatient or intolerant or angry, the anger is reflecting something in you which is against your belief system, which is against your comfort zone, which you have set your own parameters in the way how you think and in the way that then makes you feel. That is again then a contributing factor whether you are able to create homeostasis in the physical body or not. And then the fifth level of health is our spiritual alignment. And spiritual alignment is not meant in this case in the religious sense, but in your inner alignment with respect of your virtues and values and the way how you live your life, adhering to the highest possible engagement in life with a good character, a good attitude, a good aptitude, and also a high sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of usefulness and contribution to do good in life, to having a great sense of goodwill and the will to good, and a sense that you are evolving, that you are growing, that you are getting enlightened every day of your life. So this is the spiritual context. Now, very often, people have different personality profiles. So sometimes you have people that are really, really good people. They do good all the time. They help people all the time. They sacrifice themselves. They sacrifice their lives to their family, and whoever asks them for help, they always help. But the problem is that they forget to help themselves. So if you are someone like that out there that has a, I would say, Mother Teresa profile, just as an example to understand, you overgive, but you forget to receive. So you need to reboot in your emotions and in your mind and in your belief systems to balance. You need to balance the giving and the receiving. So sometimes it's important that you take a step back and you really take time to take care of yourself if others don't take care of you. Sometimes you give a lot, you have a lot of goodwill, but if you do not set boundaries, or if you help wrong people that are not in a goodwill alignment, they take advantage of you and you become a victim in life. And that doesn't feel good. And then internally, you don't know how to express that. So you build up resentments, sadness, or any other negative emotions. And then that will again contribute to disease formation. So for some people also that are in that spectrum of giving a lot of love, being very caring, but not being able to take care of themselves, there is also a factor of increasing and willpower development. There's something called the Trinity of life. So you need to look at yourself on that spectrum of, in the Trinity of life, there is love, there's power and will, and then there's creative intelligence. Those are the three factors: love, power, and creative intelligence. So if either one of them is too low or too high, you will put yourself internally into a very stressful, high stress environment. You will not feel good about yourself. You will not feel good about life. and imbalances do not easily rebalance themselves. On the other hand, for some people that are very mental, that are very criticizing, that are very complaining, that are thinking that they always have to be the police in the world and point out the mistakes of everyone around them, they have not enough heart development. And if one always is in criticism and complaining, that also is like a red energy, because that makes you very, very irritated. So if you're always irritated, then that will also contribute to a certain inflammatory situation, which can then cause diseases like cancer. So I'm just giving you a little bit of that overview to understand that when we look into healing, it's not the physical body that we are looking at, but we do include it. And that is one of the big determining factors why we go beyond medicine and why we can help people even in the last stages of cancer. Our system does not use any supplements. We don't use medicine. We just use simple techniques. We show biomechanical physical exercises, proper breathing techniques, and we can advise and mentor with respect of creating a very healthy lifestyle and how you balance the 5 key areas of life. So that is another important factor. When you look into your life, you can just think with me as I'm talking, and you think about health management. How well do you really manage your health? Is your health management a management that is the typical medical approach, where you will have your regular checkups and there will be a diagnosis with respect of blood tests, or you might have MRIs, CT scans, PET scans, all these technologies that we have available, which are great, and by all means it's good to do that. And I have to also point out, please do not get us wrong, we are not against medicine, but we are just promoting a healthier lifestyle so that in the first place you will not get disease, or we need to help you to overcome the side effects of the typical medical approaches. Okay, so going back, when you take care of your health only on that physical level, for example, one of the highest prescribed medicine globally is high blood pressure medication. Now, which is great with respect of having a measurable normal blood pressure, but does it remove the root cause of that which causes you the high blood pressure? No. Does it really take away the clogging of your arteries? No. What are the side effects of the long-term implications of taking such a medicine with respect of your other organs, to the kidneys, to the liver, to the spleen, right? It has toxicity, it has side effects. And so that medicine is not a cure, nor is it healing. It is just a suppression of symptoms, which does allow a certain comfort in everyday life, and it does allow a certain, I would say, prolonged lifespan. However, at the end, you will find that people that take that medication still end up with a stroke. They still end up with a heart attack. They still end up with clogged arteries. So there's a missing link. So we need to then look at, in our case, we would look into your system. We'll do a scanning on your energy anatomy. We do a scanning on your organs with our energetic methods. And then we would establish what needs to be balanced to improve your vitality, to improve your lifestyle, to balance your emotions, to balance your mind, and to get your spiritual alignment to your highest capacity. And very often with high blood pressure issues, cardiovascular issues, we help people, even they have been on blood pressure medicines for many years, we help them to normalize the blood pressure by simple means, by energetic means and by healing means, and they can remove the blood pressure, improve their health, even the plaque inside the arteries reduce down. And through that, they have a complete new health span and lifespan and longevity. And so in cancer, when we go back to cancer, as you know, that there are therapies that are being offered by medicine that have tremendous long-term side effects. In my experience with healing cancer patients or clients that I have that decide to have a collaboration between medicine and healing, we can help to reduce the side effects of whatever therapy they have chosen to go for. I think 90% of all the treatments are still chemotherapy in the various new forms, new delivery technologies that are nowadays available. So overall side effects in comparison to 15 years ago when I started have reduced from the medical perspective. However, they are still very, very profound. And what I see with recurring cancers is that the recurring cancers are a direct side effect from the long-term implications of the chemotherapies and radiation therapy, stem cell therapy, all those different therapies. So in our healing, we have to go to the source of these side effects and really restore and repair the damage that occurs through these chemicals to the healthy cells. Excuse me. And so this is one way how we heal and help heal, is to reduce the side effects of chemotherapy. And then we continue healing after chemotherapy is done. We continue healing as a continued corrective and preventive method to make sure that people will maintain their health span and their lifespan and longevity aspect. One of the major organs that we need to heal in cancer is the spleen. The spleen is one of the most affected organs. Even when I scan people ahead of time, even if they have not yet medically been diagnosed with cancer, one of the first indicators in our method, in our energy scanning method, is the spleen. The spleen usually shows a certain quality or a certain blockage and congestion and diminished size or diminished function. That is an indicator towards a possibility of cancer development. So the spleen organ and the spleen energy centers connected to it is one of the first indicators, plus the other one is the thymus. We have an energy center here in the heart. And the thymus is the boss of the immune system. And when we scan, and the energy center here is small, shrunk from maybe too much stress, too much hardship, or whatever might be going on in a person's life, the thymus gland behind it is compromised and does not produce as strong and healthy T cells and natural killer cells to fight out the cancer or an incurable disease. So in cancer, especially, cancer has like evasive, disguising, cloaking, hiding capacities, and it can just sneak in. It's like the enemy sneaks into your body and your soldiers from the thymus gland are all sleeping because they're tired. And then you have like a spy inside you that has entered, and then it will bring in the collaborators of the cancer, and then suddenly the cancer is there. So the immune system function, especially the adaptive immune system, needs to be strengthened and activated in diseases. And this is one of the techniques where we specialize in and know how to do that energetically. And then the other very important energy center here is the navel center. Now, some of you might have learned maybe that we need to put a lot of emphasis to the health of our guts and our digestive system. We have a microbiome in our guts, millions and trillions and many more gut bacteria that are helping us to maintain health in our system. A lot of new research is going into this new form of understanding how our body really functions. This understood that there's a gut-brain connection, and the gut-brain connection also brings certain health and homeostasis. And unfortunately, when we have to undergo chemotherapy or any medicines that we are taking, or toxic food, junk foods, processed foods, it compromises the gut biome, and the negative gut bacteria start overpowering, and the positive gut bacteria get less in diversity and less in numbers. And as we understand now, the immune system is not only here in the thymus, that's the boss, but these are your soldiers helping you to work and defend the body. So 70% of your immune function is executed via the gut biome. And very often our gut biome is really compromised. So how can we improve that? Of course, we can do it with a good, healthy diet that is gut biome diversity forming. And there's a lot of nutritionists and dietitians that understand this in this day and age and how to improve that. But energetically, we know that where your belly button is, your navel center, this is where the energy supplies the life force that you need to the guts behind. And that will allow the formation and strength and sustainability of the gut biome. Or if it has been compromised by chemotherapy, we heal through this center here to the guts behind to help restore the positive gut biome. Very often for people that develop diseases, we find that this energy center is again depleted and congested. So for a long time, usually there is already a compromise that the energy is not sustained to sustain a healthy gut biome, but also to sustain the overall flow in the system. There's a certain distribution of energy, and your life force, your longevity, your battery, like you have a battery in your cell phone, right? So this one is the battery in you, in your body. So you need to know how to recharge your battery so that all your other software in your body can function well. Another thing that I would like to share with you today is that the spleen, with respect of energy healing, is important because it is here where we absorb the healing energy from the sun. As you know, that the sun is the one that gives us a life force. Without the sun, the earth would not even be alive, right? All the photosynthesis is done by the sun, that we have forests and green leaves and green vegetables to eat. For that to happen, it's from the sun. And when we don't go out into the sun, we get vitamin deficiencies. One of the biggest vitamin deficiencies in this day and age is vitamin D. It has shown that that is one of a contributing factor from the physical perspective in many diseases, a deficiency of vitamin D. Now, in order to absorb more energy and in order to absorb something that is called the life force, or in other cultures, they call it prana, or they call it chi, like, you know, Tai Chi, or Qigong in the Qi, Chi, prana, mana. So there are different names for it. In the West, we usually call it the life force energy or the bio-vitality. Your bio-vitality is absorbed in the spleen. And our energy centers have different colors, and these colors activate our organs and our body functions in a certain way. Now, if the spleen is depleted and congested, then those colors do not develop clearly. So they become like darker in their shade and like smudged. You know, if you have, if you would put a painting and you have a very bright color, but then you will put some brown or gray in it, and it becomes a smeary, smudged color, right? And so we need to make sure that this is so clean and so clear that the different colors that are distributed into the different other energy centers and into the biovitality aspect of your aura around you needs to be clear colors. When we have chemotherapy, that is very, very compromised. In cancer itself, we have noticed that cancer has a certain color to it, which is a darker shade and a dirty type of color. So most of the cancer color is red, orange. So it's very highly inflammatory. It's very acidic. And then there's also some yellow. The yellow is the maintenance that the cancer has, that it will not die. The ability of the cancer to continue producing cells without apoptosis. It removes that mechanism of cancer death. So the yellow energy is one of maintaining or sustaining the energy. And when it's a more advanced cancer, then it gets more gray and gray and gray, and then sometimes even black inside. So this is how we look at it. We look at it from that perspective. There are certain colors, there's certain energy, substance that we know how to scan with our clairsentient method. Right? So we have the scan that you have with the technologies in the hospital and the blood tests. So that is the very physical aspect, which is also important to see. And then we have the what we call psychic scanning or energetic scanning that allows us to detect certain nuances of imbalances in the strength, in the size, in the cleanliness, and in the color texture of the different energy centers. And this is how we can detect very often way ahead of time if there is any disease on the way. So when people come to us and we scan them, the physical body sometimes is still okay. They might have a little bit of inflammation or digestive issues, acidity, or maybe loss of vitality, but there's not yet a physical disease. But when I scan them, I can already see, oh, you know, this looks depleted, this is overactive, this is congested, this color is already dark and it already has a dirtiness in it. So that is an indicator that disease is on its way. So when you do energy medicine, energy healing in our system, we then advise you to do certain breathing techniques and to do certain lifestyle changes that will prevent the disease to manifest. And if the disease is already manifested, we still need to go to the same principles to assure to remove all these congestions and to restore, revitalize, and even repair the function of the energy and of the organs and body systems behind. And then we use methodologies of healing meditation to allow you to process your predominant negative emotions and your predominant negative thoughts. And then we also allow you to find your inner alignment, to your sense of purpose, to your inner strength, to the sense of hope, to the sense of belonging, and to the sense of really being useful and having the sense of the power to fight it out. This is so, so important. So I hope with that, I have given you a little bit of an overview as to how energy medicine works, and in contrast to the normal medicine. And I believe there have also been some very specific questions, and I would like to give over to Beatrice to maybe share some of those.
Thank you, Moni. That was a very complete and I think a very clear and enlightening way to see how we can all, even we don't have some processes like cancer, but I think all of us can relate that this is a very good guide to have a great quality of life ahead. So now I want to share with you that in the registration, we had many questions, so many questions that I will do my best to synthesize some of them. But some of the questions have to do with what is the method that we can use with energy medicine to detect, cancer or the symptoms of cancer, and maybe if you can share some prevention techniques. So I'll just give you that first batch of questions.
Wonderful. Very, very good question. Very important question. I would say on your everyday life, you go into a habit to really know yourself. Be aware how you feel, how you sleep, how you engage in life, depending also on the age. Sometimes we would find, certain cancers or incurable diseases can also affect children and young people. We found that with respect of younger generations, manifesting cancer especially has exploded, especially after the COVID. And, I'm very careful here not to put any accusations to anyone, but the evidence is so high. And there are more and more, I would say, bodies out there, scientific bodies that have now proven that there is a correlation between that vaccine and even other vaccines. So the scientific bodies are going even deeper now. Certain vaccines that seem to trigger other diseases, and one of them is cancer. And they've even talked about the turbo cancer, right? You might have heard of that expression, which is what happens. And I have really seen that as well. I can attest to that. Before COVID, when I was healing cancer, the usual profile was I would scan people, and then I would have, those, I would measure those congestions. And very often people would come for preventive healing. The cancer has not yet manifested. Or if people would have, say, a stage 1 cancer, they would come to me and say, yeah, I've had stage 1 cancer already for many years, but now I decide to do healing. I'm tired of medicines. And so we would heal the cancer. After the COVID, I think 70% of my clients now come to me in utter desperation. Please help me, I'm dying of cancer. And I say, what happened? And they say, well, I went to the doctor 4 weeks ago and I'm suddenly diagnosed with cancer. I didn't notice that there was anything wrong with me. I even live a very healthy lifestyle. And my cancer diagnosis is stage 3, sometimes even stage 4. So those are cases that I have seen personally, not only one, a lot, where people have this profile now. They are really healthy. They do the regular checkups. There's nothing wrong with them. There's no indication. And then suddenly they are already on stage 3. There is no more stage 1 or even a stage 0 where you just have the indication that cancer could manifest. Even in your blood tests and in medical tests that they do nowadays, they have actually preventive tests to see which of your protein indicators could point in the direction that you are prone for manifesting cancer. So even in medicine, they do that nowadays. And so it's not like that anymore. It's just like suddenly it's all there and it's already all over the place. And it's not necessarily one particular cancer. It's so many different cancers. There are cancers out there nowadays that I didn't even know it existed. Very rare cancers that are now manifesting. Even though I still see that the highest profile of cancers that we see is still lung cancer, breast cancer, colorectal cancer, prostate cancer, skin cancers. Those are still the ones that show up the most, but the varieties of cancers that are now appearing has really gone very, very high, very different than what we had before. And so in order to be able to detect cancer early, I would suggest that you really be observant. You have to be alert and do a lot of self-care and make sure that you make health a priority in your life. We have 5 key areas of life. You have health management, then you have your family, you have a career that you need to take care of, then there's your social life, and then there's your spiritual life. So we consider this as the key areas, right? Of course, there's other things, but those are the most important ones. Now, health management very often is the last one we look at because we prioritize the family, we prioritize the career. And while we are in a younger age, we get away with a lot of things, but it is also known and shown very clearly nowadays that especially as of the age of 50, diseases exponentially explode out more. So if you are already above the age of 50, take more care of yourself. Make health your first priority. And why? Why would you do it? Because you want to enjoy your life. You want to enjoy your family life. And at 50, most of the time, our career lives have already peaked anyway. So we should already harvest the fruits of our hard labor that we've given. Or if we need to continue, of course, generating income, we do it in a balanced way. We need to make a time management to say that this 1 hour per day in the morning and this 1 hour per day in the evening, that is my time where I 100% only focus on myself, and I make sure I prepare myself for the day. I'm aligned, I feel good, I do the right things with respect of healthy lifestyle creation. And before you go to bed, you need to also take care of yourself. I think in our society, we have forgotten to do that. We just jump out of bed, we are immediately on the phone, we have to take care of the kids, get them out of the house, run to work, sit in the traffic, get stressed by all the traffic jams. And then when we come home, of course, we have to continue cooking and whatever it is. And then we do not anymore have the habit to switch off because there's another YouTube to watch, there's an overload of information, there's an overload of activity all the time, but it's really activity without productivity. Plus, all the screen time and all the noise that comes with it affects our health. It is proven. And if we are going to bed without having decongested the blue light that emits from the gadgets, from your computer, from the screen, and the emotional activation we engage with when we watch whatever we watch, there's a certain activation here in the solar plexus. We might not be consciously aware of those things all the time, because if you feel anxious on a certain level, if you feel sad, guilty on a certain level, you don't always notice it anymore because it has become your normal. You know, how do people burn out? There is a certain level where the burnout goes into a level where you don't know that you are burnt out because you have become it. So you're inside that energy without understanding that you are feeling something, thinking something that is not good for you. It's like binge eating. Most of the time people binge eat while they have the screen time. You don't even notice. It's just become a habit, right? And then you only notice when a disease has come and somebody points it out to you that these are the things that are contributing to the disease formation. So taking care of yourself in the morning before you start the day and in the evening, going to bed in the right way is so important. Why? Because you need to reach deep sleep, very deep sleep. And best according to the circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm means you get up in the morning with the sun and you go to bed, or you stop your over activities when the sun goes down. Especially when it comes to these, extra things that I've just mentioned, and with eating. Don't eat immediately in the morning carbohydrate, but first absorb the energy, ground yourself with your feet on the earth, and do a little bit of activity so that the body can wake up, and then have a good breakfast up until maybe 10 a.m. in the morning. This is where the body is really metabolizing everything the best. It's proven, it's scientifically proven. And then before you go to bed, you have to tone down so that your sympathetic nervous system is not in overdrive anymore. Your cortisol levels, your adrenal levels can calm down, and your parasympathetic nervous system can take over. Your vagus nerve is active. Then you will go into deep sleep, and it is in deep sleep that the body recovers. And the highest regenerative recovery rate in our body cells during sleep is before 2 a.m. in the morning. So as it goes after midnight, it goes already down, but as of by 2 a.m., it's done. So if you're someone who goes to bed very late all the time, beyond midnight, your regenerative capacity of the regeneration in the body cell with sleep is no more. Even if you sleep well, even if you go to bed at 2 and you have a deep sleep, but the body does not anymore regenerate. And the reason is because there is a correlation between our energy with the energy field of the earth and the energy field of the sun that affects our pineal gland, the melatonin output, and the cortisol output. That is the baseline. So in the morning, some of you might know, when the sun rises, melatonin goes down, cortisol goes up. That prepares the body for, hey, it's daytime. I have to work, I have to run, I have to hug my children, I have to wake them up, all these things, right? But in the night, normally when we live a good rhythm of time, the pineal gland will then increase the melatonin, prepares for sleep, and the cortisol goes down. But what we have created in the modern day and age is the light doesn't dim down. We have artificial light in our houses, from the computer and from many other sources. So the pineal gland's melatonin output is not anymore the same as it's supposed to be in its natural flow. And that is why it is important for you to consider to tone down at least 1 hour or even longer before you go to bed, and not have any more all this stimulation, so that your melatonin can go up, your cortisol can go down, and you will have a good restorative sleep. It is one of the biggest contributing factors. So if you only take this away today from our talk, I think you have already a pearl of health that you can do. It doesn't cost you anything. You just have to think about it, integrate it into your daily life, and it will already improve your health quotient. And coming back to the question with Beatrice, in order to detect cancer from our side, we have a clear sentient healing method, and we are trained through the system that has been founded by Master Delpe, the world expert in energy medicine, and who has founded the World Institute for Incurable Diseases and the energy medicine modality called BEwell Science. BE is for balanced energy. And we are allowed to call it a science because we follow a curriculum, we follow a protocol, we have rules and regulations, do's and don'ts within the system, and we have continuous replicable positive results. So by that nature, it qualifies our healing system to be a science. So that is why we call it BEwell Science. And some of you who might be healers, the biggest difference between the mystical approaches of healing versus energy medicine through the BEwell Science healing method is the curriculum of understanding the energy anatomy, the function, the faculty of the organs, and the the function and the faculty of the chakras or the energy centers that affects the function of the organs and the body systems behind, and the faculty, which is the psychology, your emotional and your mental well-being. So it goes also beyond normal psychology, because in normal psychology it's more generalized according to certain systems, depending on what type of psychology one studies. But the energy anatomy psychology is very, very exact. And so when you understand that, when you study that, and it's a volume of study, I tell you, but you will become a super psychologist, you will become a super healer. Because if you have specificity of application, healing is fast. If you just do a general application of, okay, just put some hand to pray over, or put some light, which is good, it's already better than nothing. However, you cannot really control what the energy will do exactly, how, when, where, and why. So when we are talking about healing cancer, we have to make sure to apply the right color to know what it does. So we have to hit the nucleus of the cancer, for example, and switch it off. You need to tell it to stop, because by itself, it does not do that anymore. It forgot the apoptosis. It took it away. The cancer energy itself has an intelligence to it. How did it figure out not to anymore switch off the reproduction of the cell? So something in the cancer energy is also intelligent. So we need to counteract that intelligence with our intelligence. So we need to understand also the basic aspect of science and medicine to understand what cancer is from their perspective. And then we augment it with energy healing to apply certain colors and certain intentions to make it reverse and to make it switch off. And the principle behind that is that energy follows thought. This is a principle that has also been discovered by common science in the new quantum physics and nanophysics and nanotechnologies. We understand that when we put thought or intention to energy, the energy follows that. It's a law, it's a universal law. So you have to use a lot of intention, clear focus, with understanding the spectrum of colors, with understanding the spectrum of, I would say, certain activation, deactivation, or removal of dirty energy that will cause the reprogramming of your body cells function to make a healthy cell again and to remove the cancer and make it die and go away. In our clairsentient method, we measure each chakra. There are 13 main chakras. We measure the vitality level, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. And each level will give us an indication if that chakra is healthy. And through that indication, we know that the organ behind or the gland behind will either function well or have a compromise. So this is how we do it. This is how we scan it. Moreover, some of us are natural psychics. I myself, I'm a natural psychic. I've been born like that. So I have a natural gift. Plus, through the training and personal mentoring with Master Del Bay, I have developed the third eye, which is a spiritual technology, which allows me to scan the organs, the body, and literally look through the organs like an X-ray machine and see the deficiencies of the organs as well. So there's a training that we undergo that we learn to do that. And so we have a physical scanning by that X-ray method, plus the energetic scanning through this clairsentient method, plus understanding the function, the faculty of each chakras versus the body systems, the emotional mental levels, which then we present you our scanning outcome as our energetic diagnosis, even though I have to put that under brackets because we are not doctors, so we are not allowed to diagnose. But all those methods that we use will give us a very clear picture as to your health quotient.
Thank you, Moni. That was a very good and comprehensive answer. And I just wanted to mention, I have so many other questions, but maybe I can just go directly to some things that you have not covered yet. Like you also let us know a lot about how we can keep on taking care of ourselves. And regarding to the lesson that cancer can be, there's a question about what is the deeper learning or meaning behind going through this illness?
Very good question. Thank you for asking that. When we try to understand why we do health challenges or life challenges as such in life, we can go deeper and think about the lessons that we need to learn. That is the spiritual aspect of health. In our system, we don't only heal in the moment now, but we heal in the present. We also heal the past and we heal the future. Why do we need to heal the past? As I mentioned in the beginning, as when we started today, that there is a contributing factor to disease creation that is not today. Your disease is not from today. Your disease is the sum total from everything that came before, from this life. And in our philosophy, we also consider a past life. Or if you are not in the Eastern philosophy or from the West or certain backgrounds, there is the lineage factor, the ancestral factor that plays a part into physical manifestation of diseases. So we need to know and understand that sometimes diseases come to us to rectify something in us. That is also a spiritual lesson. So if you have a wrong lifestyle choice, or if you have a wrong character, say if you would be someone that is always getting hurt, always a victim in life, gullible, doing wrong things because of that, making wrong decisions and getting yourself into a difficult life, then a disease can come to be connected to a mentor, to a healer that can then help you and mentor you to understand where you need to change your inner self, your inner alignment to life, how you do things, how you think, how you feel, in order to have a new alignment, a new understanding of who you are and what you are in life. A spiritual lesson also comes sometimes with respect of your enlightenment. Sometimes you need to have a disease so that, and again, a mentor can explain to you certain processes of life so that you understand that you are in a process of becoming another level of who you have become in life already. We always grow. We always have an evolution in life. So spiritual lessons need to be learned in order to grow. And that is really our life purpose. Our overall life purpose is to be a little bit enlightened every day. Our overall life purpose is through that enlightenment process to improve ourselves and our capacity to develop higher consciousness, to develop more refined character, more refined way of living, and through that also the capacity to serve. So very often I find that some of our clients do not heal up until they learn that spiritual lesson, or up until they earn good equity for the healing. What does that mean? Good equity means that you need to give first something to get something back, right? The law of karma, or the law of cause and effect. So you need to serve, you need to do good that is not only you for you, but also for a greater good. So some people need to engage in a new way of living where they integrate that part into their lives. And by helping others, it allows them also to open their hearts and to establish a flow in their hearts, to establish joy in their lives, compassion, and the capacity to give freely. And that will generate a spiritual equity back to allow you to heal. And that is depicted to you by your soul. It's between your soul and you, no one else. But a mentor can just put you in the right direction and explain to you how to do it and what to do in order to go to that aspect. And the other component is the opening of the heart. I had mentioned earlier that one of the contributing factors is the thymus gland, the boss of your immune system. Your immune system needs to function properly. If that doesn't function, if your heart is small, if you hold a lot of grief or negativities in you that closes your heart, if you have a lot of resentments, the energy here does not flow. Your immune system will not function well. So part of the spiritual lesson is to open the heart, to flow the heart, to forgive and to be forgiven, and to love and to be loved and to love yourself. Very often I find that with incurable diseases, people suffer from certain inner self-sabotage programs. They do not give themselves enough credit, appreciation, self-love. So there are certain self-sabotage programs, always scolding yourself, always feeling guilty, always having resentments, not feeling good enough. Or if somebody had been experiencing trauma during childhood, reliving that trauma all the time, and the fear and discomfort from that time is still in you, and your system has not switched off the trauma. So every time if there is a trigger in your daily life, you relive that, you start crying again, you start feeling anxious again, you start feeling guilty again. So it re-triggers all the time. So we need to help to heal that. We need to help to open the heart. An open flowing heart is one of the key factors for healing, especially in cancer. Without an open heart, it's very, very difficult. And the cancer will recur up until that happens. Now, very often it's really, really difficult for people to forgive because they have had tremendous traumas in their lives. Nevertheless, the spiritual lesson is to find forgiveness, to forgive yourself, to forgive others, and others also need to forgive you should you have been the one hurting others. So it depends. So these are the major spiritual lessons that come with healing. The opening of the heart, the flow of the heart. And another one also, sometimes in life we become so serious and we take everything so serious that there is no more joy in life. There's happiness because I can buy a new car, or buy a new diamond ring, or have a new boyfriend, or have good sex in the night. Okay, great. But that is one happiness for one action, and then it's gone again. But when the heart opens, you experience that inner joy, the joy for life, the joyfulness, the gaietiness, the happiness that comes just naturally with everything you do. It's in you. This is what the heart opening does. And that is one of the most important spiritual lessons to learn.
Thank you, Moni. That's really enlightening. And I think, again, all of us are benefiting from this wisdom. So another question that I think is important, because many people that register in the event came because they have cancer. So some talked about metastases in the lungs, in the bone marrow, in the prostate. Many people that came also had breast cancer issues. So one of the biggest questions is, how are patients treated in our system when they have metastases?
Okay, thank you. So I think with generally the information that you've received, there was already a lot that I've covered in the way how we heal. So there is a baseline of methods and techniques that we use that help you to improve the inner state of your whole body. So we need to help you to disinflame. We need to help you to clean and activate the spleen, to activate the immune system, to make sure that your innate and the adaptive immune system are responding to the cancer. And through our methods that we have learned as experts, as healing experts, we have methods to contain the cancer and to stop the continuous growth and division of the cancer. And then the character development, the mentoring to create healthy lifestyle choices. So there is many different ways, methods, mentoring techniques that we teach you, and you proactively participate with us in creating a healthy environment internally and externally. And in order to really establish how we can help you, we need to actually scan you individually. There is no one glove fits all approach in any disease management that we do in the BEwell Science energy medicine. We need to really scan you, and we need to have a chat with you to understand your life overall. How well is your life balanced in your 5 key areas of life? And we need to see exactly where your energy system is blocked, depleted, congested, and how strong the cancer energy has manifested in your energy, how strong the energy has already manifested in the physical body. We need to know a little bit your age, and also need to know what time of the year was your cancer diagnosis established, because that would make a contributing evaluation whether your system, whether your cancer, your disease is very karmic, or rather only a spiritual lesson, or both. So there is something that we call the 7 cycles of life, where there's 2 times a year, 2 auspicious times per year, where we attract bad luck, where the soul purges negativities that we hold in us. And if a diagnosis has come during those 2 auspicious times, the cancer healing has got more complications to it. And so we have a lot of contributing factors that we need to take into consideration to understand how we will heal cancer in any stage. So when you have a lower stage cancer, the heal plan that we offer will have lesser sessions and not as much time span, versus a cancer that is already in stage 3 or stage 4, where we need to increase the sessions and heal for a longer period of time. The principle behind whether healing will work or not is that you need to create an environment internally, externally, and through healing, that your rate of recovery is higher than the rate of decay. If you establish that, the body will heal. Not necessarily that your body will cure. There's a difference between curing. The medical profession cures, takes away the symptoms, and you are considered cured. Very often, though, the cancer recurs later, because in the cure, you do not remove the root cause of the disease or the trigger of the disease. In healing, We focus on the root causes, the contributing factors, the triggers, the side effects, and the symptoms. So there's a profound difference between curing and healing. And that is very important to understand. Now, how to make your rate of recovery higher than the rate of decay? There are many factors. So first of all, if you have already a very high rate of decay, meaning the cancer is already metastasized, I need to put a lot more positive energy over the negative energy to win over it, right? It's a law of quantity, a law of quantum over the quantum. And the other factor is also that you need to establish a lot of pluses in your life with respect of your lifestyle choices, so that all the positives that you have in your life are higher than the negatives that you have. So you need to have a lot of positive people that support you around you. You need to have a lot of good positive food that supports the physical health. You need to have a lot of fresh air, grounding, earthing, so that the positive electricity charge in the body will be balanced by the negative electricity charge of the earth. So all your pluses of life need to add up much higher than the minuses or the negativities of your life. This is what we mean by rate of recovery has to be higher than the rate of decay. Then the healing works. And so it is not a straightforward, overnight approach and things would just turn around. There is a lot of factors that we need to take into consideration in order to reach that goal of the rate of recovery higher, depending also whether you are opting of healing only. If you opt for healing only, then our healing can be faster because we focus on those given circumstances that you bring along from your life and from how the cancer has manifested. However, if you opt with chemotherapy, medical treatment plus healing, then the rate of recovery is slower because we have a lot more minus points by the negative side effects from the chemotherapy or radiation therapy. So it just takes, even with the healing, longer because we have to neutralize the side effects of the chemotherapy in order to establish the self-healing capacity of the body. That is a contributing factor together with the healing energy to remove the cancer. Now, sometimes, I had not mentioned that before, if you have certain cancers where the tumors are already really, really big, and I'd mentioned it before, it's not that we are against medicine, but sometimes you do need to have medical approaches that is helpful when you have to have surgery. So very often you will find in colorectal cancers, for example, that there will be surgery first to remove the cancer. And that is sometimes a very advisable step to do because you just already removed that, especially when it's big, you remove it first and then after you heal. This is one of the good approaches that we have learned over the years that really works well in cases where you have extreme big tumor formations already. Because it takes some time from energy healing to physicalization. So there's a little bit of a delay. It's not an instant. Like when you shrink the tumor with energy, it's not instant. There's a little bit of a delay. Maybe it takes sometimes 1 month, 2 months, and then the tumor will shrink down. Depending also on the size. Sometimes it can be faster, and in some cases, it can also be miraculous. That one we have to establish by scanning.
Thank you, Moni. Yes, actually, I was going to ask you some of the questions coming about if we can help people post chemotherapy, during and after, or those that have, that they tell them, they ring the bell and say you are on remission, but people stay scared even for 2 years, 3 years that the cancer might come. And some people that is here is also wanting to know if healing can be done after they have been said that they are in remission. So if we can help them with that.
Yes, that is a very good question again. And I would say definitely yes to consider healing, even you have already achieved remission through chemotherapy or through your medical treatments. And again, one of the best approaches for our system would be that you arrange a scanning session, a discovery call with us, so that we can do a scanning on your system and that we can see if the energy still holds the congestions that we typically see in cancer. So, and that we also can see the severity of the side effects that the organs sustained from the chemotherapy. And why is that important? Because when you do the blood test does not always really reflect the damages that has been done to the organs. And why I say that, and I really have proof of that, I've had 3 cases of dying stage of cancer. And in all 3 cases, they were still in medical treatment and did healing together. And in medical treatment, of course, there's always continued blood tests and all these kind of things. Now, when we start healing them, their blood test results are 100%. There's nothing wrong in their blood test. It shows liver function normal, kidney function normal, the cancer markers, everything is normal. But they still have cancer. Even medically, the cancer is still there. And even the doctors go surprised. It's just like, but your blood test shows normal, but you still have the cancer. How is that possible? And so the blood test is not always the best indicator to understand whether the disease in you is still active or not. And that is why when people go into remission, the current tests that are available in standard medicine have a certain bracket, which they say, okay, remission. Can they really say cured? No, because the subtle energetic factors, they cannot yet measure. Maybe in future they will, who knows? There is a lot of development in nanotechnology nowadays, going into the finer spectrums of the energy. But right now, the blood test alone is a status quo, but not necessarily the end result. And so we need to scan and really establish and see whether everything has been covered with respect of the physical body's needs, the side effects of the chemotherapy, especially radiation. Radiation has been shown to be one of the re-triggers of or recurrence of cancer. So the recurrence of cancer very, very often is actually directly related to the medicines that have been given. For example, the modern immunotherapy, targeted therapies, they have an effect, but after a while, the immune system gets compromised to a very high extent because, of course, immunotherapy interferes with the natural capacity of your immune system, right? So it always puts an activation to activate certain T cells and certain natural killer cells and processes of the immune system, but it is by a chemical reaction. And so over time, it depletes the immune system, and then there is a time where the immune system collapses and the immunotherapy doesn't work anymore. So this is one of the long-term side effects. And then you have a very, very compromised immune system that eventually would allow again the recurrence of cancer, especially if there are still imprints in the energy where the cancer has not been totally removed for various reasons that we have discussed already today.
Thank you, Moni. I'm going to zip in one last mini question because we have covered everything of the spectrum. But is it true that, let's say, ill will spells cast of negative sorcery, because we're in Latin America and that happens. People is talking about the evil eye, and sometimes, and with you, we had this case that we had with cancer with this family that had this curse, and then you clear and exorcise the curse. I remember that in this cancer patient. So can you talk about a little bit about how can that affect people with cancer?
Yeah, that is a very, very important question indeed. Indeed, there are cases where people get cursed or where people carry curses from the past or even from past lives. So it's not necessarily from this life. However, I have had personal experience with that, one with your case, Beatrice, other cases I've had in India, where we've had certain people dying, manifesting incurable diseases or cancer, where we clearly found the evidence of an active curse or spell towards the family. And so when I say evidence, it means that we eventually found the person who was cursing the family, and then when we talked to that person, they then revealed how they did the spell. So evidence, like really evidence in person, to say that the person would admit, yes, I've cursed that family. And then when we asked them, what did you do? In one case, it was like a voodoo type. They were having like peripalia from the client. They took even hair, nails, and they cursed. In another case, they engage, in South America, I've experienced, they engage your traditional psychics or shamans, and they will put certain spells. In India, they engage also, like they are certain priests that know techniques, and then those priests will put prayers that are spells and curses. And then sometimes it still comes from the past. So if you have a karmic constellation, then by the person you married or the children you have, and by the lineage you have, you will find that, as I mentioned earlier, the parents have cancer, the family members have cancer, even the grandparents. So you see that lineage trajectory of cancer. And there can be a curse that comes from past life, from an engagement to black magic or witchcraft, where these people have cursed each other at that time, and they reincarnate in this life again together as souls to neutralize with each other the pain that they gave each other in another lifetime. So in another lifetime, you could have been the child, now you are the mother, or you could have been the husband and now you are the wife, or you could have been the grandmother and now you are the grandchild, something like that. So, but it stays within the same soul group, and it reverses the roles. So if you would have cursed someone, the curse comes back to you if you did not neutralize it in another way. And so through healing, again, there are certain capacity of energetic and psychic investigation that we know and that we have learned to understand whether a curse is active in a family or not.
Thank you, Moni. We're almost 2 hours with you, and I know everyone wants to keep on listening, but we want to value and appreciate your time, also our translator. So I want to just start thanking you. Any final words or advice you want to give people at the end of this event?
Okay, as I promised, I will let you go away today with something you can take home to start helping yourself. So remember, I gave you the nugget that you try to get into a circadian lifestyle rhythm where you prepare yourself well when you start the day and prepare yourself well before you go to bed. And I had mentioned that we need to open the heart and we need to activate the navel centers. Those are two of the most important components in energy healing to activate the immune system. because the immune system at the end of the day has to fight the cancer from the physical perspective. So I would like to share with you a technique today that you can use to reboot your energy in your navel. You can do that at any time. As long as you are either standing, you can stand barefoot, facing the morning sun, or you can sit down with the feet flat on the floor. Please do not cross leg because that will block energy flow. Okay, and so what we do is you take your right hand and bring it below your belly button, and you take the left hand and place it above. Form a circle with the thumbs together, and then just rest this circle on your belly button. It's in the center. And then relax your shoulders and relax your spine. And just close your eyes. And breathe gently in and out through your nose, gentle breathing. And be aware of the belly button. Focus on the navel as if you are breathing in and out through it. And now just keep this position and bring your focus to your heart center in the center of your chest. And breathe gently. And from your heart, allow yourself to recall some of your best moments of your life. And bring these good memories inside your heart and smile. Smile with your heart, smile to yourself, smile at life. Feel that inner warmth. Feel the good feelings as you smile and remembering or thinking of things that make you smile. Just think of good things right now and keep on smiling with your heart. And from your heart, allow yourself to express gratitude. Be grateful for your life and the good things, even to yourself. Be grateful to yourself and appreciate yourself for the good person that you are, the good things that you do every day, the care, the love, the compassion that you show to your family, to your work, to your friends. Really express gratitude to yourself, to life, and keep on smiling at everything. And even express gratitude and love to those people that are helping you in your life or have helped you. Just say thank you and smile at them. And from your heart, express your love and care, good wishes, also to your family and loved ones, and to all the important people in your life. And allow yourself to even just mentally ask for forgiveness from those that could have been hurt by you, and forgive those that have hurt you. Let go of everything by internally affirming, let all be forgiven. Let all be free. Let all be forgiven. Let all be free. Let all be forgiven. Let all be free. Experience your new inner emotional well-being and inner freedom. And share your inner smile, your love, your goodwill and good wishes to your future, to your greatest life that you deserve. And then open your eyes and smile. Okay, I hope you feel lighter.
Yes, Moni, indeed. I see so many smiles over there with people. Cuéntenos, alcen los pulgares si es que disfrutaron esta meditación. Please thumbs up if this was a good moment for you. Again, this is an honor to have you, Moni, and having your experience and your explanations for this South American group. We're going to put this recording out, so it is a big call out for a new way of seeing health and recovering health, even with cancer or other life-threatening diseases. So again, I just want to thank you, and we want to invite everyone to start having more hope and bringing the word out that there is a method that we can use, and we can tailor-make the scanning for you. With Moni, she can also be one that can scan your energy and also help to see a heal plan for you. Of course, with Blanca, with me also, with the international team, having also a Master del Pe and other experts in the healing of cancer that can support healthy processes and bringing again hope and bringing great results.
Wonderful. Thank you, Beatrice, Blanca, Belen. Thank you for
Moni.
translating. And also for our tech team behind the scene, we thank you. And everyone that has come here today, I thank you as well. Thank you for your time and interest. And I hope we could serve you with our talk today. And there is hope, there is empowerment, there is more than just medicine, there is healing. And I'm looking forward to be more of service to you. Please engage with us, and Beatrice and Blanca, Belen, the team in South America is there for you. Do not hesitate to engage. And I thank again for the great opportunity today.
It is a pleasure. We want to have you again, Moni, soon. We will keep on organizing more space as people is calling out to have this clarity and new solutions. So it's a pleasure again to have you. Also, thank you, Michal, doing all the ads to call out to everyone that we had this talk to you in all meta universe and also to all those friends and supporters of our group that have been putting the word out in different WhatsApp groups, different therapy groups. So thank you again, everyone that make this possible. And with that, we are in the last part. I'm going to take away the interpretation and we're going to stay in Spanish a little moment for people if they want to do a further more questions or follow-up questions. Yes. So we're
Seguir
ending.
hablando en español.
Muy bien, y con esto creo que estamos todos ya en una sola línea. Muchísimas gracias, Moni, a Ana y a todo el equipo. Estaremos aquí contestando preguntas si hay algo más, pero lo más importante que queremos ofrecerles y proponerles a todos es que nos contacten, que vean en las redes, en el evento, que nos busquen, porque así podemos hacer la primera sesión para quien tenga un familiar con cáncer, necesite el apoyo o está pasando por un proceso de cáncer o de remisión, avísennos, así podemos hacer una cita previa y luego con eso podemos darles la oportunidad de conocer cuál es el estado energético en el que están en este momento y luego podemos ya hacer un proceso de sanación. Y para quienes quieren aprender sanación y quieren tomar el toro por los cachos y empezar a aplicar este estilo de vida que Moni mencionaba, de aprender a respirar, absorber energía, tener un ambiente donde podemos triunfar con buena salud. Queremos invitarlos a aprender nuestros cursos de BEwell Science, de Medicina Energética. Justo este fin de semana vamos a estar ofreciendo uno y ahí se aprende los 5 niveles de salud, se aprende un poco estas técnicas que Moni mencionaba de poder palpitar las energías, aprender a bendecir, activar nuestro corazón, perdonar, usar las respiraciones para revitalizarnos, ejercicios biomecánicos, cómo proteger nuestra energía. Hay un combo de posibilidades muy, muy interesante en este método. BEwell Science, el nivel inicial que estaré dando este fin de semana con un mes de mentoría adicional. Así que con esto estaríamos terminando esta sesión. Estamos a un WhatsApp de distancia. No sé si alguien quiere decir algo más, de pronto Blanca, Belén, que quieran complementar esta sesión.
Bueno, yo los animo, Blanca Minuche, los animo a estos consejos de Beatriz, todo lo que nos ha compartido Moni, que ha sido una información extraordinaria, como dice Beatriz, a nuestro alcance, y podemos apoyarles con esas sesiones gratuitas de poder medir sus energías y poder darles un diagnóstico más acertado de cómo poderlos ayudar. Sería increíble poder tener la oportunidad para nosotros poderles colaborar, apoyar. Gracias por la participación. Gracias, Moni y Beatriz, perfecto. Y a todos los colaboradores que han estado increíbles.
Muchísimas gracias también. Gracias, Belén, por traducir. No sé si hay algo más que tú quieras agregar. Nuestro traductor estrella.
Hola, hola, ¿cómo están todos? Primero, agradecerles por su presencia hoy aquí. Realmente la ciencia de la medicina energética es transformadora y como están aquí Blanca y Beatriz, ellas pueden ayudarlos a todos a que puedan conocer un poco más de cómo el instituto los puede ayudar. Muchas personas ahorita en el mundo ya están beneficiándose de estas técnicas, así que les invito a que puedan ver los resultados y puedan entender de que hay algo más allá que la medicina normal, que hay personas ya sanándose y mejorando su vida y yendo más allá de la enfermedad, más allá de la remisión, cambiando su vida, teniendo una vida después de la enfermedad. Y eso es lo que este sistema te puede dar. Gracias.
Así es, muchísimas gracias a todos nuevamente. Ya saben, estamos en WhatsApp de distancia. Para quienes se inscribieron, vamos a ofrecerles la grabación de esta sesión. Va a estar, creo que en inglés, y otra vez vamos a ver cómo también se las podemos pasar en español a quienes la necesiten en español. 20 minutos con nosotros. Nos vamos a llenar de personas, así que si alguien quiere, escríbanos ya, háganos saber que quiere esa cita previa y también la cita que se puede hacer con Moni para poder hacer ya un plan de sanación. Quienes realmente lo necesiten, no esperen a mañana, avísenos de una vez para poder ir agendándolos, porque es según el que vaya llegando, podemos atenderlos primero. Y si alguien realmente quiere aprender sanación, tengo un regalo, les voy a dar un 10% de descuento. El que quiera aprender el sistema BEwell Science, el curso básico, para este fin de semana, las próximas 24 horas, los que estuvieron en esta charla pueden acceder a ese regalo por haber sido tan buenos participantes y haberse quedado con nosotros hasta el final. Así que avísennos. Con esto nos vamos a despedir. Again, thank you, Moni, from our hearts and also from all the team. Gracias, Ana. Y podemos ir entonces cerrando. Vamos a dejar aquí unas láminas corriendo para los que quieran ir viendo qué es lo que estamos ofreciendo. Un abrazo y muchas bendiciones.
Hola.
Thank you, everyone. Buenas noches.
Everyone.
Namaste.
Thank you, Moni.
Bye.
Nos vemos. Gracias por todo. Thank you, Moni.
Thank you, Beatriz. Gracias, Beatriz.